Hey, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 83rd episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything that's important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we're talking all about why feminist filmmaking matters with special guest Kelly-Ann Rivera. But before we dive deep into the subject, couple of questions to ask you. First, have you subscribed to WokeNFree via email or iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or any of the other platforms that we're on? If not, please go to WokeNFree.com and subscribe away. Next, have you shared an episode with friends and family? If not, guys, feminist filmmaking matters. If you don't even know what that is, then you totally should share it and spread the word because A, we greatly appreciate it, but B, spreading positivity is what will make this world a better place. So please play a part of that.
True that.
Thanks. Next, have you hollered at us on social media? If you have breaking news, if you have ideas for a collaboration, if you just want to holler at us, feel free to reach us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or even YouTube at WokeNFree. And then also, have you reviewed our show? Like, have you given a full-on review of the show on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, or any of the other platforms we're on? Again, go to WokeNFree.com and you can totally give us your honest feedback. And again, we would greatly appreciate your support of the show. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a special guest, Kelly-Ann Rivera, and to kind of set the stage right for it, I think it's important that we talk a little bit about who she is. So she is a feminist filmmaker with a passion for storytelling. She recently graduated from film studies and plans to go on to graduate school to study women, gender, and sexuality studies. She owns her own business as an Arbonne independent consultant and negotiating her way through life with self-growth and meditation. And I'm also proud to say that we're big fans of Kelly-Ann because she's also the director of film production for Long Island Girl Talk. Woohoo! So now that you know that, I think you're going to be extra excited to hear our conversation with her and definitely join the conversation.
Each week, we like to share a little bit about us before we dive into the topic for the episode. Last week, we shared what would you rather listen to on your commute, an audiobook or a podcast. This week, we're sharing what is your guilty pleasure when it comes to food.
That's a good question. Well, I recently, so I just did a 7-day cleanse with Arbonne, and so I decided to go like full vegan with it, and so I kind of really enjoyed not having meat for those 7 days, so I decided to go longer. And then my dad was like, hey, can you like order us some Peruvian food? And I'm like, ooh, they got some great chicken. And then I ate the chicken. So that is definitely my guilty pleasure. But I definitely do want to be like a vegetarian one day, but I broke I guess it was 10 days I went without meat. But, you know, I tried. But my guilty pleasure is definitely like sushi. I will give my arm and a leg for sushi.
That's interesting. I should share this video I looked at on Facebook. It cured me of my affinity for sushi. It was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen.
No, please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
Don't ruin it for you.
Sad,
all right.
Yes, please don't ruin it for me.
Ooh. Oh, okay. God. I mean, food itself, I find to be a guilty pleasure.
All right. Especially that okra. Yep.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, let's keep it
good
PC.
pomegranate juice.
No. I'd rather not vomit in my mouth. Thank you very much. I guess my baddest guilty pleasure is kind of cliche-ish. So hold your judgment and your stereotypes to yourself. But it would definitely fall within fried chicken, mac and cheese, watermelon,
watermelon's not bad for you.
Okay. Really like sweet iced tea, like the Chinese store one.
Anything that's bad for you and has no value.
Soda, for sure. Yeah. Coca-Cola, for sure. Cream soda, specifically Jamaican cream soda.
Anything number one, though?
My number one thing that I love, I mean, because I in my mind I've rationalized that I need it when I'm sick, which is Coca-Cola.
Oh,
So
okay.
that'd be my number one, yeah. Which I know causes cancers, guys. But I know, I get it. But not that I'm officially saying that. Of course not. I don't know the medical
You don't know the research
information behind
You
that,
have to go into
but
that one.
I have been told that drinking Coca-Cola is not the
Maybe
best
that's an
for
episode
you.
then. That could be an
Does
episode.
Coca-Cola? I'd rather not defame the company.
Oh.
Thank you, Khalil.
But we can uncover the truth, and maybe it's just a misnomer.
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
That's
yeah.
what's funny about
well,
it.
how about we keep it broad? What is the real health effect of soda?
Yeah.
We'll keep it like that. All
Okay,
right.
yeah. Don't say a brand specifically,
Yeah.
because there's other drinks out there.
Exactly. How about you?
Mine is the number one. Definitely has to be McDonald's French fries.
Ooh, good choice.
It's hard for me to, because when I think of a guilty pleasure, I think of something where somebody offers it to you and you're not going to take it because you know it's bad for you. But McDonald's fries when they're hot, it's all like I don't know. I've never
and
actually
salty.
I don't think I've ever denied that. I've denied every other thing. I've denied
Yeah.
desserts, but I haven't denied like hot French fries from McDonald's.
That's a good
those ones specifically. I mean, technically, I don't know if I've denied Checkers either. Like I like those fries, so those fries come in at the top.
So you're just like a fry man.
Maybe, yeah.
Nice.
That's my
nice.
guilty pleasure, I would say.
And juicy.
I'd have to say, yeah, definitely
Very
the fries.
nice.
The fries
Very
get me.
nice.
Those get me.
Clearly a healthy household we live in.
Yeah. At least you mentioned watermelon, though. You thought that was a guilty pleasure. That was a good pleasure.
Yeah, well, then because there's all this commentary about like too much fruit is bad for you. It's like it's so hard sometimes with the nutritional standpoint.
Yeah, too much of anything is bad for you.
Yeah.
That's not anything.
Well, with that, I think we could mosey on down to the subject for today, which is all about feminist filmmaking and you as a feminist filmmaker. So first question out of the gate would be, how did you become a filmmaker in the first place?
How did I personally become a filmmaker?
Yeah. How did you kind of make that journey your own?
So I've been a creative kid my whole life. So I grew up and I always loved having attention. I loved performing. So I started out dancing and singing in talent shows. And then I really got into YouTube once I got into my preteens and early teenagers. And at the time, like making your own music video was super huge back then. At least like maybe about almost 8 years ago it was. And I was like, wow, this actually looks like a lot of fun. You could pick whatever song that you want and you could just make it your own. And I had decided, you know what, I really want to try this. I want to sit down. I want to make my own video. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try. So I stole my mom's camera. That thing was like ancient. I have no idea how it worked, but I recorded myself. I made a music video to like a Miley Cyrus song, something super old. And I sat down and I figured out how to edit it. I didn't watch any videos. There wasn't even like, I don't even think YouTube was big on tutorials back then, because now you can really search up anything on YouTube. Like my dad now, every time he's like, I need to fix something in my car, he watches a YouTube video and boom, he fixes it.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really like that then. And when I was like 14, and so I figured it out on my own, and I completely was like, whoa, this is so much fun, and I fell in love with it. And when I showed my family and I watched their reaction and how much they loved it and how proud of me they were, I was like, wow, this I feel like in my heart I instantly knew, I'm like, wow, this is it. I finally found what it is that I want to do. And I mean, it was really great for my parents because now I was just cooped up in the house making videos and on my computer instead of going out and partying. I mean, lucky them. So that's basically what I spent my entire high school experience doing. I was home making YouTube videos basically. And I was like, you know, I really want to go to college for this, and I want to learn how to make a movie. That's got to be my end goal. And now I'm a college graduate, and I just graduated college with my film degree.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Now, what is feminist filmmaking all about, and why is there a need for it?
So for me, feminist filmmaking is, so I know that I have a story to tell, whatever it may be, and there's so many different aspects to feminism, and so many, I guess, things that me as a feminist or different feminists want to say or let the world know. And I know that as a filmmaker, and specifically a feminist filmmaker, that it's so important that even though I want to tell, all of these creative stories that I have in my head about either it be love or heartbreak or friendship, excuse me, that they need to have a feminist undertone to it. So I can have a story about love, but it's a strong female lead who essentially doesn't need anyone to help her, or is fighting a bigger fight of something like of that. So right now, I'm working on my debut film that I was working on for my thesis, and even though it's about friendship and the underlining tone is navigating your way through life as a woman and as a strong woman. So I always knew that whenever I make or tell stories, that I want to always have a feminist underline to it, that every woman of any ethnicity, of any race, of any culture could take away from it.
Now, do you believe the average person really understands what is a feminist? And if not, if you could make a PSA, what would you say to America or the world as to what is a feminist, and why people need to understand it and maybe not even fear it?
So I definitely don't think everyone knows what a feminist is. I know it's sort of like, at least for me and who I grew up around, that it's kind of a taboo. So whenever you find one and you're like, oh yeah, I'm a feminist too, you're like, oh my gosh, there's someone else out there. Because for me, most of my feminist, I guess, community is mostly online. It's not really in my personal life mostly. So it shouldn't be feared, only because all we want is equality in every aspect. So not just for, men and women, it's also for Latinos and for the Black community and for the LGBT plus community. So we fight for everyone who isn't on, or isn't can't think of the word,
Represented or supported, or
represented,
gotcha.
or exactly, represented or supported well. So for every single part of history, it's always been the white man. as funny as it sounds, but that's what all of history is. People of color and people of different ethnicities and cultures, and the LGBTQ plus community aren't very represented.
What are the biggest challenges you face as a feminist filmmaker?
The biggest challenges I say I would face is, well, one, being a colored feminist filmmaker. I am a Latina, and so it's kind of difficult to get, my voice out there, and wanting to tell a story of, hardships, and and even to be taken seriously as a woman. I'd written basically an entire paper for women in film, and even though I'd already known that filmmaking is a male white dominated industry, I'm still shocked to learn how much of it is just male dominated, and women aren't really given the chance to enter into the realms of editing and cinematography and directing. So it's all mostly male, obviously, but for females, it's mostly women who are doing the producing, because they're the ones that are putting their foot in to start projects, but then men are given the director's role, and it's usually women who are also doing, what else are they doing? The producer, no, something else. But mostly producing. And when it comes to filmmaking, it's actually more documentary style films than narrative films, which are usually given to men.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. And, when you think about how the world is today, how different would this world be if more people identified as feminists and or there were more feminists in positions of power, especially when it comes to like media and television film?
As I feel like it's biased to say that like the world would most definitely be a better place if everyone was just feminist, because not everyone understands or even agrees that women have always been put down, and individuals of color and things of that nature. I'd even spoken to a guy who didn't believe that there was a pay gap for men and women in jobs. And
Wow.
even though I tried to show it to him, he was like, well, Google isn't really an accurate answer. And so I was like, but where else do you get your information now? It's the internet. So,
What about those stories stories that came out where I remember I forgot what that one movie actress where she was getting like $100,000,
Michelle Williams versus,
and then Matt Damon was getting like $2 million or
yeah,
something.
it was something where she was getting like $28,000. It was
something
like
really low,
thousands,
then
and
he
he
was in the
got like
millions
millions,
to
and it
come
was
back.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's stories in the news about that. Like there's evidence besides just like something, an article somebody wrote randomly. There's like
every
real
year
news
there's
things about
information, and there's also
Right.
people who are sharing their salary information now too.
And even to that point, that this person wasn't even open-minded to accept the information that I was giving him, that I didn't even bother anymore. I was like, you know what? I'm just not even. After a while, you kind of feel defeated as a feminist. I feel defeated all the time that not no one, but there are people who are unable to view the same things I do. So this person wasn't willing to accept that there is a pay gap in industries, even though I was giving him the information. And then you guys automatically, just at a blink, we were like, yeah, but this person said this, and this person said that, and this person said this, just to know that that information is out there. So I'm not just making stuff up or anything.
Yeah.
I'm not just sounding like a crazy feminist who is trying to look for attention. Like, this stuff is real, whether or not you want to accept it or not. So that's definitely one of the hardest things, especially, it's hard to have conversations with, I guess, men mostly, who aren't just willing to accept what it is that's true, I guess.
Gotcha.
But is it really a fact or an opinion is basically like the argument. Like, is it my opinion or is it fact?
You are listening to WokeNFree.
WokeNFree.
A podcast that is real and honest.
What are you working on now?
So I am currently working on my first short film. It's actually debuting in May, about the first week in May. I'm waiting for a date from my professor to tell us when, like, we have like a film festival for the school every year. So it's going to premiere then, and I'm also going to be putting it on Venmo for people to see. So that's definitely the largest platform I'm going to be putting it on.
Okay.
Do you want to share a little bit about the project and what the film was about?
Oh, sure. So it is about a college student named Sienna who has put all of her well-being into this one girl, and she kind of looks at her for everything in her life. She always needs a bit of help from her until she's completely removed herself from the equation and just takes like a little vacation for a few days, and she leaves this girl basically stranded on her own, and so she has to navigate her life for those few days, and that's when she kind of finds herself, basically. So it's kind of a story of growth and finding yourself, and I had written it because I was kind of in that situation emotionally, and so I kind of wanted to write a story that felt really close to home so that I can kind of like patent it in my head and in my heart and then just like toss it away into the wind. Like, this is how I felt. I am, I guess, how do you say, time capsulizing it, I guess is a term. I wanted to like put it as a time capsule.
Like
and then,
documenting the moment.
yeah, not document this point in my life and then just toss it away like a dove in the wings, like fly away, see you later. So I'm so excited. I am and almost in final edits right now, and I'm like getting more and more excited that it's actually a story that I wrote and it's now on a screen and it looks so good, and I feel like people are going to enjoy it, and I hope they do, even slightly nervous, but I don't know, I feel like I'm like, oh, you know what, I did a good job with this. This is going to be good. I have faith that people will enjoy it.
Awesome. Very exciting. Okay. So definitely make you share that, all updates with us so we can keep the WokeNFree Nation apprised, and that anyone wants to come out can see it in Long Island, or they can go online, like you're saying, and see it there. So that's very cool. Now, just to switch gears a little bit more, just about like kind of change in policy. If you could change any one thing in Hollywood, either for television or film, what would that change be?
It would definitely be that women and, all women, like women of color, of LGBTQ community, of necessarily, like everyone would be given the chance. I mean, the Oscars are like the top dog of film. So if you make it to the Oscars, then it's like then you've made it. So I want to see more. Sorry. I want to see more women of color, women of from every background at the Oscars, and that given more chances to make creative films.
How has politics affected the feminist landscape, do you think?
Well, having Donald Trump as our president has kind of defeated us. I mean, you have a sexist, racist man as our president, and it's going to be 3 years that he's been in presidency, and I genuinely still can't believe that he is our president. I feel like I'm living in a dream where I just look at the
You mean a nightmare?
Yeah, it's a nightmare, absolutely. I look at Twitter and I look on the news and I just watch this man on a podium and I'm like, he's actually our president. Like, they actually voted for this man, and I still don't know how. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe it. Like, I'm waiting for the 4th year. I'm waiting for 2020 for someone else to run. I don't care who it is at this point. I mean, I do, but you know what I mean. Someone other than Donald Trump, please. But it's unfortunately that whenever someone is president, they usually get 2 terms, and I can't have 5 more years of this man. I remember I didn't even watch the elections because I was just so nervous, and when I woke up the next morning to find out that he had won, I just started crying. Yep, I was like, oh, okay,
Wow, really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this sucks. Yeah, and a lot of people, it wasn't just me. So many people were posting videos of themselves crying on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I feel you. This is the worst. But, oh no, Bernie Sanders is going to be running in 2020, and I'm like, I got you, man. I'm voting for him. I know.
We actually should do an episode on political, like the landscape and predictions, because that's interesting. So you think Bernie has a good chance?
I don't know. As much faith as I have in him, and
Okay.
as much of a good man that I think he is, Donald Trump won once, and those who usually win usually get a double, 2 terms. And as much as I hate to say, I feel like he will Not if I can help it, not if I'm like, everybody go vote, go vote. This is the presidential election, go vote. But
Yeah.
it makes me sound like, I don't know, my heart hurts just saying that.
Yeah,
But
definitely. It's interesting. I completely, I mean, I think we agree with you that, I think, the thing about being a feminist, I definitely, like you, identify as a feminist. And the challenge is it's a journey, right? It's not really a destination. And so much of what being a feminist is educating the world. It's educating ourselves on how we can be better feminists and how we can support our community, of all designations, of all races, of all genders, and all orientations. But it's a process, right? Because being a feminist isn't like necessarily like the beginning of time kind of standpoint. Man and womanhood and things like that have stood for so long. So we have to kind of go up a hill when it comes to sharing what this journey is.
Trudging
But
that
I think that
hill
people
with
like
a
yourself,
boulder on our back.
yeah, but it's important to have people like yourself who are making film and who are trying to depict feminism in the body of work that you do. And I think that's probably the best way to get across to the masses, because people's time attention is too short, right? After 2 seconds, they're like, what? Right.
Same.
But if you show them something funny, if you show them something interesting, you can get them, right? So hopefully we'll continue to just make more content and prove the value of why not only feminism is needed, but Latina feminism, right? Like having women of color who are feminists. So I guess the next question and the last question really would be, what would you say is next for you as a feminist, as a filmmaker, as a young person? Shout out to Long Island Girl Talk. Kelly-Ann is also the director of production for Long Island Girl Talk. So she is producing and creating all sort of content. So what's next for you, and what's the best way for people to connect with you?
So what is next for me is I plan to, of course, work on more films this summer. I actually have a script about a personal experience with my spinal cord injury that happened last year and the whole dramatics. That's a whole nother story of my life. And I'm actually going to graduate school for women, gender, and sexuality studies, because even though, filmmaking is, one of my passions, so is feminism, and I want to get a higher education with it. I feel like I'll make more of an impact in the world with this education of getting a higher degree with this, even though you don't, absolutely have to as a feminist. But I feel like this is something that I need to do. I feel it in my heart. This is like, and I'm looking forward to it so much. Like, I even know the first day of school, it's like August 27th, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the first day of school. It's August 27th. Like, I can't wait. So those are the next few things that are happening for me. I'm also trying to enter my scripts into writing contests, enter my poetry into writing contests. Like, I'm trying to get my name out there as well, with my writing, which is another passion of mine. Those are my 3 biggest passions. So that's mostly what I'm doing. I'm working on projects. I'm working on my personal development. That's kind of been my biggest thing right now, working on my physical health and working on my feminism. And that's about it.
Awesome. So development, self-improvement, and growth. That's what we all should have in store for us, actually. So very inspiring, and congratulations on the graduate degree. That's really great that you're investing in yourself and your future. And hopefully, WokeNFree Nation, if you are thinking about this as a possibility for yourself and you have questions for Kelly, we'll make sure to include her contact information on the episode at WokeNFree.com. And
but does she want to give any of her
Kelly, if you have, do you want to give any contact information specifically as well?
So Instagram is TheFeministBoriqua. Pretty long, I know. And Twitter is The Feminist Body. TheFeministMori. Those are basically my top social media platforms that I use. I also have a Facebook under my name, but also The Feminist Boricua as well, spelled the same way as Instagram.
Perfect. Awesome.
All right.
So yeah, definitely guys, WokeNFree Nation, get in touch with her if you're interested in collaborating, talking about projects, talking about your own feminist journey. Definitely share that in the comments. Definitely reach out to Kelly. I think she's a really great Kelly-Ann. She's a really great resource. And with that, Kelly, we just thank you for sharing your story. And definitely we can't also wait for you to share kind of more about the health journey that you've been on, because I think that, yeah, that's another really wonderful opportunity to inspire and motivate so many people. So, that's really exciting to hear that you're going to be working on a project related to that as well.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was so much fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. We are at that time again. It is coming of the end of our 83rd episode of WokeNFree.
Oh, man.
Wowzers. That was quite the episode, talking all about why feminist filmmaking matters with special guest Kelly-Ann Rivera. Will I leave you hanging for what our next episode will be about? Drum roll, please.
On our next episode, we will be discussing what is the Us movie all about. So make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
Good voices, guys. Good voices. We're having a little bit of an audio dance with ourselves.
It's an
there.
experimentation. It's experimenting.
I would do something, but Miss Thing is trademarking it, so I won't. But
Alrighty. Yeah, right.
if you want to be a guest on the show, please submit a topic for an upcoming episode or share how you feel on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That is WokenFree.com. Again, we are super active on social media. Always feel free to hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at WokenFree. And if you'd like to sponsor an upcoming episode or talk to us about a sponsorship deal, always feel free to reach us on our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do, share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokenFree Wednesdays. Remember, WokenFree is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.